put hair on and everything for you.
Hello, hello, hello. Happy New Year, everyone. First of all, I just want to say that I am loving the energy tonight. I see there was already about 200 people waiting before the session even began because that is how much I don't know. Sandy Smith, for those of you who are new to the Academy, we love her. She's the side hustle queen. She's all about, teaching you everything you need to know in order to be a boss, to bring in that extra income so that you can maximize the skills and interests that you already have and make income off of that. Now, before I even get started, I know there's a lot of new faces here. Some of you may not be familiar with me. They're probably like, that's not Tiffany. I didn't even get to do the come into the room greeting.
Oh, you got to do the dance.
Yeah, she does the dance and everything. But I did come repping tonight. I have my Dreamcatcher hoodie on from shoplivrichards.com, shameless plug. And it is nice and snug. I was so cold today, and this is just, it's perfect. So I'm styling, I'm swagging today.
Hey.
But to introduce myself, my name is Tamara. I'm the Live Richer Academy manager. And I'm just really excited about starting Ask the Expert this year in 2019 with Sandy Smith. For those of you who do not know, Sandy Smith has taught many lessons in the Academy. We have side hustles with Sandy. We have all about drop shipping, which I never knew about until she came on board and was like, hey, y'all, this is the deal.
Mm-hmm.
And she also taught a intensive. It is a 22-day intensive, and it walks you through how to start a small or home-based business. So Sandy is just an amazing expert. She knows her stuff. Her website is yesiamcheap.com. And, she's just a superwoman. She actually just recently had a little one. He's about 15 months old and he's been sick. But guess what? She is here because she knows that it's important for all of you to get started on the right foot for 2019. So everybody just welcome. Let's just welcome Sandy. Let me see all the virtual claps. But Sandy, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself for those of you who are joining you for the first time?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So you did such a good job introducing me. I feel like nothing is left out. So I have a site called yesiamcheap.com. And actually, I just celebrated my 10th anniversary of that site on January 1st. So it's been around for 10 long years. And I started that site because I had almost $23,000 debt. And I was drowning. I was like a lot of you guys are right now. I was clueless and I didn't own anything. So before you're thinking, oh, she owes that money, but she's got a house. No, no, boo-boo. I didn't own a car. I didn't own a house. I didn't own anything. And so I started reading a lot and learning a lot about getting out of debt. And so I started that site and started sharing all of that. But in the meantime, I also had gotten my MBA in small business and entrepreneurship. I'd started my own small business. I'd always had a small business. Shout out to all the Jamaicans out there. We always have tree jobs. So when the recession hit, right before I actually start my blog, my business folded. I had employees that I had to let go of. And I transitioned from a brick and mortar business to online, and I never looked back. So I've been teaching people how to do the same thing, how to build and grow a small business to always have some extra income. Because my motto is never depend on your job for 100% of your money. I'll tell you why. Because I changed careers in the meantime, and I was in human resources. And part of my job was to fire people just like you who went to work, did your job, did nothing wrong. But when the company needed to save money, guess what? It was time to let you go. And a lot of people never saw it coming. So I was like, I know everybody has a number, everybody has a date, everybody has a time. If there's ever a time when I'm going to be on that other side, I'm going to make sure that I'm not boo-hooing while I'm going to unemployment to get my coin. So I always have another thing going on and another thing or another thing. And now I'm lucky enough to teach thousands of people how to do the same thing, how to start a small business, grow your small business, have it be side income. And I focus on side income on purpose because I'm never going to tell somebody to quit their job. But guess who did? So I'm self-employed as of this year. I was this crazy woman who had a baby, bought a new house, and then quit her job.
So, wow.
Yeah, I've been a crazy lady in the last year. I don't know what kind of got over me, but it's been a great journey, and I'm happy to help other people hold their hand and walk that journey with them towards starting, growing a small business or a side business, and maybe you can grow it into something like I have where it is your full-time business.
Yes. So, okay. Hello, guys. She's the bomb. I'm telling you. So, any questions you have as we are going through this lesson, please feel free to ask at any time. But, Sandy, we just love your energy. Every time you're here, you just bring this energy of possibility. We know that we can do it because you've been through it all, and you show us how phenomenal you are, and how easy, with focus and determination, it is to get it done. So
Yes.
I do want to kind of just like start off with just the whole side hustle piece. As I stated, there is a course inside of the Academy, and all of the links are going to be listed in the Facebook group and underneath this video once the lesson is complete. We didn't want you to get distracted, but let's just start with just side hustles, just in general, because a lot of times people think of side hustles as, I don't know, they think of small things like surveys, which, yes, that's out there. You can make a living off of that. But let's just talk about what side hustles mean in general. What could it be?
Yeah, so it's everything from selling Avon to your friends, which I don't necessarily advocate because after a while it gets annoying, to something that you do where you're not tied to a clock where you got to punch a clock, because I hate those things. You already have one of those. You don't need two of those, right? That you can do on the side that will generate money. So some of my favorite ones are not real jobs per se, because I don't want you to get another job that keeps you just over broke. I want you to get something that puts real money in your pockets, and maybe you can dedicate it to your debt, or maybe buying a house or whatever it is. So some of my favorite ones are things that you do on your own time. So for example, one of the ladies in my group walks dogs with her daughter in her spare time. And she goes on Rover and she goes on WAG, and she makes a couple $1,000s extra per month. And then one of the reasons why she was motivated was because her daughter wants to be a veterinarian. They have one dog, and she's like, I need to expose my kid to more animals. But how do I do this? So now she's exposing her daughter to more animals, and she's getting paid to do it. So that's a true example of a side hustle. You guys have heard of Instacart, where other people will buy your groceries for you and deliver it to you. When I was a new mom and I couldn't get out to really go shopping because I had a difficult delivery and stuff, and I needed groceries, all right? Because you guys with husbands, you know how they are. They go to the grocery store, you send them a list, and they come back with like half of what you really needed, and the other half is like chips and candy and soda. So I couldn't trust my husband. So I discovered Instacart. Or some of you guys, it might not even be Instacart. If you go to BJ's and you can order from BJ's, whatever, they're using these delivery services as well. Somebody's got to go pull that stuff off a shelf and drop it off at your house. Guess what? That's a side hustle, So things like that, or not even necessarily things that are the gig economy. Oftentimes you have a skill or you do something at your job right now that you get paid for that you could potentially do on the side. And let me tell you what my current thing is, because I told you I don't work for anybody. So I was in human resources. I'm a career changer. I've done a multitude of different things. So my last career was in HR and payroll. So my current gig, my current side hustle, which is side to my main business, is that I'm a consultant. And so for mid-sized companies, I'm the one who swoops in and fixes stuff when stuff goes wrong. Or in this case, their payroll manager was pregnant, went on maternity leave 3 months early, and there was nobody to pay their employees. So here I am, I swooped in, and I'm there. I work 20 to 40 hours a week, depending on when I feel like it. And they're paying me close to $100 an hour. Come on. And that's in addition to my main business. Yes. Guess what? That's what I was doing for my main job, right? So now somebody's paying me $100 an hour to do the same thing I was doing at my regular job, where they were paying me, by the way, $45 an hour. So, there's that.
There's a
side hustle, it comes in different forms, different shapes for different people. Another friend, she actually works for the federal government. And guess what they're doing right now? They're not working.
Yep.
So her side hustle is that she knew how to sew. She sewed some clothes and stuff. And so other people would ask her to make stuff for them when they saw the stuff that she made for herself. And so what she did is she opened a little side business and she rented out a little spot out of somebody else's spot, teaching people basics of how to sew like one thing, right? So now the government shut down. So that's what my friend is doing. Now she's having a class every week. Before
Yeah.
she would have a class like once a month or whatever. And she took the same things that I said. Don't depend on your job for 100% of your money. Everybody's sitting there thinking the federal government is a sure job. Yeah, but where's that paycheck right now, right? So she's really happy that she had this skill that she converted into a side hustle that now she's teaching classes once a week while they're shut down. On top of that, she was really like a health fanatic. And so she's teaching Zumba classes as well to make up her money while the government's not cutting her a paycheck. So there are different things. As you can see, all 4 or 5 of those things that I just mentioned to you are completely different things. What works for me might not work for you, but what works for you might be perfect for you and can make you some extra money.
Exactly. I'm cracking up at the comments because everyone's like clapping, like, yes, the government is not paying anything. There is no check right now. And it's true.
It's true.
So my question for you, Sandy, because sometimes we have people who are, just multi-talented. They can do a little bit of everything. And sometimes they're just overwhelmed in their own, talent. That's a good problem to have.
It could be bad though, because you get paralyzed. You get what I call analysis paralysis, right? And you're like, I could do this. And then guess what happens? You end up doing none of it. You end up doing nothing. So what I tell people is pick the thing that you like the best and start there. Or even if it's not something that you like the best, pick the thing that will make you the most money for the least effort and go there. Because honestly, I'm lazy AF and I have a kid. I don't have time, right? So am I going to go for something that's going to make me, $30, $40 an hour? Because guess what? There was a company that wanted to hire me in the short term to fill in again for maternity leave, and they were paying $40 an hour. There was this company paying $100 an hour. Am I going to be dumb? In the meantime, I do have a bunch of other things that I do, but I went straight for the money because that's what my focus was. Now, for some of you, that might be different. If you want to do something that's more fulfilling, whatever it is, do you. But as a side hustle, I want you to focus on the money. I want you to focus on the money first as much as you can. And stop futzing around and being afraid to start something.
It is. And sometimes, like you said, you get stuck there and you're just constantly researching to the point where you're not making any progress and not making any income. So the whole point of a side hustle is to hustle. Let's get going and get things into motion. So I think a lot of the times we are so wrapped up in the corporate space. If you come from that background or if you work somewhere for, 20, 30 years, you forget about how huge this virtual space can be and how you can utilize it to sell your skills. So let's say, for instance, you know what you want to do, and there might not necessarily be an exact website you can go to, but what other social networks or other tools are out there that you can use to promote yourself?
So it depends on what it is that you're doing. There are different sites that cater to different skills and different people. So let's say you are a phenomenal executive assistant. I was one in my day. I was in grad school and I was an executive assistant because I was like, I need money to go to school. I don't care if I got to go fetch somebody's coffee. Okay. So if you're a phenomenal executive assistant, you're a beast with the calendar, you're great at scheduling, you're organized, whatever. You can go to Upwork and advertise yourself as that phenomenal executive assistant. Whatever skill that you have, there is a site that will cater to you specifically. Let's say you're a really caring person, you've had a few kids, you have that mom skill and the mom instincts, your kids are off to school now, you've got some spare time, maybe you want to babysit. You might go to care.com and, that might be the thing that you want to do. Whatever skill that you have, there is a site out there because there's somebody like me who needs your help to do it. Something as simple as I'm sitting in my office. I've only moved in a couple of months ago, so my office is not put together. This furniture right here on my floor, which you guys cannot see, from IKEA. Guess who's horrible at putting IKEA furniture together? But somebody out there, one of you guys might be great at that. You can go to TaskRabbit and you could be the person that I hire to come over and put my IKEA furniture together. Maybe you're a handy person. Some of you guys who follow me, you might follow me on Instagram. These hands have sat in corporate for all of my life, but these hands get dirty as well. So I was renovating my old house, and your girl knows how to tile.
All right now, watch out.
Okay. So I hundreds of people watch me tile my kitchens in my old house, and were asking me a ton of questions on how do I tile, how did you do this, how did you do that, blah 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 blah. And somebody was like, hey, could you come over and show me how to do XYZ? No. But let's say you have one of those carpentry skills. You can put yourself on Craigslist and hire yourself out for, whatever other skill that you have. Everything that you have that you know how to do can be sold online. If it is a corporate environment, a corporate skill that you have, if you do not have a LinkedIn profile, you are slipping. Okay. You build your LinkedIn profile, you put all of your skills on your LinkedIn profile, and you turn on the option that says that you are looking for employment. It could be part-time, full-time, whatever it is that you are looking for. Build up your LinkedIn profile if you are Miss Corporate in the suit every day, like I was, and things will find you that way. I can tell you right now that the gig I have right now would not have hired me if they didn't go to my LinkedIn profile first and saw my experience and the things that I could do and the recommendations that I had from people that said, hey, I'm great at doing XYZ. I literally went in for an interview. I was in the interview for 45 minutes. They called me the next day to be like, can you please?
Wow.
Right? So, if you're a corporate person, if you do not have a LinkedIn profile, you're going to write that down right now. And the minute this thing is over, you're going to go to LinkedIn and you're going to update your profile. And you're going to add your skills, and you're going to call your previous coworkers who you work with, your previous managers, bosses, whatever, and you're going to ask them to give you recommendations, because your LinkedIn profile is your virtual calling card. It is a virtual resume, and it can open doors for you in other places online.
Wow. So everyone's like, yeah, they're running to LinkedIn, taking their notes, and they're running over there right now.
Yes.
So there are a few questions coming through, Sandy, and I do want to address those really quick.
Bring it.
So, all right, you have your skill down packed. You now have your resources and your website, your platforms that you're going to go to. How do you go about even beginning the pricing process? What are some methods you use to price your services or anything?
That's actually a really great question, because I was going to underprice myself for this gig, to be quite honest with you. So I thought, okay, what am I getting paid right now for what I'm doing on an hourly basis? Okay, great. So there's my hourly pay. If you're thinking I get paid $25 an hour right now, that's what I'm going to charge, wrong. Let me tell you why you're wrong. Because you have not thought, oh, when I go to work, my employer pays half of the Social Security taxes. They pay half of the Medicaid taxes or Medicare taxes. They pay unemployment insurance. Boom, boom, boom. Right there, those will add about 12% to 15%, depending on where you are, of taxes that you don't pay right now. Boom. So you've got to add that onto whatever. So your $20 an hour is not $20 an hour anymore. Maybe it's $25 an hour. Then you have to think, okay, maybe they're paying for my life insurance, health insurance, whatever benefits that you have. Those have a value and a cost. It is part of what people call your total rewards or total compensation. You have to assign a number to that. Or because if you're working for another company, you're working on a gig or whatever, and you're not their employee, they're not providing that to you, but there is a value there. Okay. So in my mind, I'm like, this is worth X amount of dollars per hour. I'm going to add that. And then you've got to think, I've got to pay taxes. I've got to pay taxes. Taxes are a beast. Whatever it is that you're making right now, and you're thinking, I'm paying really high in taxes, you have not known what paying taxes is until you are either side hustling for yourself or working for yourself or have a small business. I tell people, whatever you think you're making an hour, slop off about 40% of that for taxes off the top of it. Now ask yourself, when you're $20, $25 an hour is now $14, $15 an hour, is that enough?
Yep, there you go.
Is that worth your time? And in most cases, people say no. In most cases, they say no. If you're a consultant, if you're corporate, if you're executive, if you are consulting, I tell people don't charge less than $50 an hour. no matter what it is. If you're a consultant in a corporate environment, different things will have different scales. If you're driving for Uber Eats, it's going to be a completely different thing, right? So it's not the same as somebody who has a professional skill that, has a job. Maybe you're an attorney or maybe you're an accountant right now and you want to do it on the side because, hey, it's tax season and people are going to want to do their taxes. You can't charge what you get paid at work because your job is making money off of you being there. So you gotta, at least add 40% onto that, right? And that's how I tend to price myself out. Now, I just told you guys I was making $45 an hour at my regular job. I was gonna charge $65 an hour to this company, right? And I was like, $65 an hour seems about right. And they offered me $100 an hour, okay? And I didn't flinch. I was just like, okay. Inside though, I was thinking, oh my God, did they just offer me $100 an hour? Because brown women don't make this kind of money. And because I did the math, I was like, that's a lot of money. That would be a really good salary. So, when I thought about it, I realized I was underpricing myself. Because I have to travel to their office. Boom, that should have been another cost, right? It cost me money to get my butt up, to get on the train, to go to travel to their offices and back, right? So I was like, I underpriced myself. I was thinking in terms of what I was making and adding like the taxes or whatever. But why can't I add a premium? Because I have a special set of skills and they're desperate on top of it. There's that desperation tax. So, you have to reevaluate your situation. But if you're a consultant, I generally say don't charge less than $50 an hour because you're going to feel like you're being exploited. You really will. Because after the taxes and stuff is gone, you're going to be like, dang. Exactly.
So I hope you guys are noting that because, at the end of the year or when it's time for taxes to come around, it does hit you pretty hard. So you want to make sure you're not only charging what you're worth, but going above and beyond that. So let me tell you, there are people out there, they are doing it. I feel especially as brown women, I feel like sometimes we think we shouldn't charge as much as we should, just naturally. For some reason, I don't know what it is, but you are so worth that. And if you do some research and you look at other people that are kind of doing the same things, you can kind of, just do a market research and see what works for you.
Yeah, now, you can go to a site like payscale.com. They have general ideas, or a Glassdoor. You look for your job title or what title you would call yourself in your particular area, and you can get a general idea of what range of pay is, because what I get paid in New York City might not be what somebody gets paid in Mississippi. So you've got to adjust your numbers depending on the market that you're in as well. So payscale.com, glassdoor.com, go to those sites and try to get an idea of what the range is for your particular skill in your area.
Exactly. So there you go, guys. You have two really great resources. I've actually used those myself, and they're pretty accurate to get an idea of what's going on out in the field that you're interested in. We have Matilda. She says, maybe this was asked before. We did not, Matilda. So this is a new question. What are the implications of doing a side hustle of your same job? Are there any conflicts of interest? Do you have to contact your employer? What goes on when you're doing a side hustle with a full-time job?
That's a great question. Actually, I worked at Morgan Stanley in compliance before. Mm-hmm. I told you I've had many jobs. And then working in HR and having non-compete agreements. So those are two things that you really have to watch out for, depending on the industry that you're in and the employer that you work for, or a non-compete status. Those three things can kind of wipe you out of being able to do the very same thing on the side. If you're in an industry that's regulated, like the banking and financial industry, most of them will tell you, you cannot have a job outside of this job. You must get a permission from us to do whatever. And sometimes they may approve, they might not approve, but 90% of the time, they're not going to approve. If you have a non-compete agreement, usually your non-compete is telling you that you can't work within this industry for the same clients or the same pool of clients doing the same thing, offering your services. So if you sign a non-compete, you sign a non-compete. It is, it is what it is. So you have to be very careful. Maybe you can utilize those skills in a different industry and not doing the very, very same thing. If you're, whatever your HR team says that you're unable to do, you have to be very careful and you have to toe the line. With that said, there has been a lot of litigation around companies basically limiting their employees from being able to do other things. So, and even when you sign a non-compete with your company and then you leave and it tells you can't work for blah, 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 blah for the next couple of years, I have seen a lot of litigation around that where courts are overturning those non-compete agreements. Now, I will never tell you to do anything that could get you fired. Remember, I always say, don't quit your day job. Don't do anything that will get you fired. Okay. If you have another skill that you can utilize, and go ahead and do that until such time that you are able to potentially be within the same industry. But yeah, toe the line if you have to. Do not get yourself fired.
Okay, I love this next question. And I'm actually so happy you addressed that because, sometimes we get really excited when we're in our, when we get these little side hustle ideas and we can get a little crazy. So addressing that is very important. But I love what Nisa is asking. Nisa, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. She's wondering if she already has a side hustle, but wants to bring in more income. How do you go about informing your clientele that you're increasing your current prices? Come on now.
Yes, I've done that. I've done that with my clients. It is not easy because you are like trembling, like, oh my God, I'm about to blow my whole stuff up because they're going to say no. So I think it's in how you do it, right? And to be quite honest, you have to be prepared to lose some clients. It is what it is. I think that you can't raise your prices every year and think that it's going to be okay. I think you have to be firm when you raise your prices. Like, here's the value of the service that I'm providing to you. The cost of my services have gone up, and inform them well ahead of time. Don't drop that bomb on Friday thinking your prices are going to increase on Monday. Okay. So, and maybe you figure out how you're going to increase your prices. Are you going to do a gradual step up and say, my prices will increase over the next year to this, but I'm increasing for you right now in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, it's increasing to this much and then to this much. Or you might be nice enough to say, I'm going to grandfather you in. However, my new client for this rate, they're getting this. Or you have an end date when your pricing will expire and say, this is the new pricing. So I think it's all in how you communicate it. And you have to be firm and know that your pricing, unless you're in an industry where you do negotiate pricing, your pricing has to be firm. I tell people all the time, when I used to own my boutique, people would come in wanting to haggle, right? And I'm like, do you haggle at Walmart? Do you haggle at Walgreens? Do you haggle at McDonald's? You don't, right? But so my pricing is firm. Just like it's firm at those other places, it is firm here. So you have to be prepared to lose people if you are going to raise prices. But the clients that are supposed to be your clients, if they value your service, they will stay with you and they'll absorb the costs.
Absolutely. I can actually give a story to that. There's a woman that does my makeup. I don't have any makeup. I'm not great at it. So I pay someone to do it when I need it. And she went up $10 on her pricing. She just sent us a message individually. And this was very informal. It was on Instagram. She just said, Happy New Year. Hope all is well. And she shared, just some nice, lovely New Year's positive, warm messages. And then she said, hey, I just want to let you know my price is going up. If you book with me now, if you book with me now, you'll get the current price for your next appointment. But after that, I did both. I was like, well, let me get two. I need to book this one coming up and I need another one. So I was totally on board. And I just wanted to share that just as a consumer, as someone that is her client, that we are totally okay with it if you love the person that you're working with.
Right. And in how she communicated it, right? So she made it a deal for you like, hey, it's going up, but hey, I'm leaving you at this price for now. If you book the next one, and then the one after that is going to be the pricing. So it's in how you communicate things. Sometimes you can't just be like, hey, my prices are going up. It is what it is. No, you kind of deliver it. You deliver it with a spoonful of honey, so it doesn't feel bad.
So it sounds like we have a lot of professionals. A lot of our members tonight are from the corporate background, and they're very interested in learning about the consulting side from your experience. Have you offered any consulting to companies? And if so,
Yes.
how would you suggest for her outside of LinkedIn? Are there any other suggestions you would, suggest to her for getting clients that way?
Your network. Your network is very important. So for me on LinkedIn, I have a huge network of people, and they're not just like a number of people that I just snag. I actually interact with my network. I share things. It's kind of like a Facebook LinkedIn is. I share industry information so that they know that I have this industry knowledge. I'm keeping current on my industry knowledge. I also interact with agencies as well, because you can be a subcontractor at an employment agency for somebody else. So for me, one of the biggest HR agencies here in New York is Agilon. And they own a bunch of different employment agencies, account temps, and a bunch of different places. And I've let them know I have a partner there, an account manager there, and I've let them know, hey, I'm no longer working here. I'm hanging out my own shingle. If you have any clients that I would be a great match for, let's work out some terms and agreements, and I could subcontract for you. And they have called me. They have called me for short term. I need you to, do you have time? I have this client that would be great for a 1 month assignment, a 3 month assignment, blah, 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 whatever it is. And so, they're making their money off the top of you, and you're making your money. So you're both winning. You just have to work out what your pricing is. So whereas I might charge $100 to this client, I might not be able to charge that much to account temps, right? Or to Agilon. Maybe for them, I say to them, I need to go home with $50 an hour. No problem. So they might charge the client $75 an hour or $85 an hour, or maybe they're the ones charging $100 an hour, whatever it is, but they're securing the gig for me. They're working out terms. They're doing the agreements. And oftentimes when you're subcontracting for a temp agency, they're paying the taxes that you would have paid if you were self-employed. Technically, you're kind of like working as their employee or their subcontractor. So you can work out a 1099 situation or a W-2 situation, depending on what you work out with the agency, but they can find gigs for you. So if you want to be a consultant and you're just hanging your shingle out, you don't know where to start, what to do, you might want to consider subcontracting for an agency.
Okay, I have to get that website from you, the proper spelling of it, because they're on top of that one. They want that.
Agilon is AJILON, and they're huge. They own a number of different agencies, actually.
Oh, wow.
And they're probably agencies that specialize in whatever skills that you have. So when I was an executive assistant, there was another agency that I worked for in New York. There was Executive Search, and there was something else I can't remember. But if you are in a particular industry, there are agencies that specialize within your industry. When I was in procurement and purchasing, there was an agency that specialized in procurement, and I still get emails from them for potential short-term gigs all the time. So look for the agencies that specialize in what it is that you do if you want to be a consultant somewhere, or you're working for yourself, and start that way. And then you start to build your client roster. And one of the things that I say to my clients is, if you love what I do, I highly value a recommendation on LinkedIn. Those recommendations are gold. Okay, so I have recommendations from clients from as big as Oracle, which is a huge company. And when people see those large companies and other corporate clients writing those recommendations for you, they're more apt to hire you as well. That's social proof. So, get those recommendations, not just your check, get those recommendations as well.
Yes, because the recommendations are going to keep the checks coming. So lock those in. Actually, Patricia Roberts Rose is just showing you some love. She said, I've learned so much from Sandy. She's a proud member of the Hustle crew and a firm believer of using your skills, abilities, and talents to generate additional income. So she just wanted to show you some love. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Miss Pat's been a ride or die for, oh my gosh, for so long. So I appreciate her, because she's been I think you may have found me through Dream Catchers, maybe, and she's been along with me for some time. So thank you. Hey, girl. Hey.
Oh, so let's get into starting a small business. Let's say,
Yeah.
for instance, you've been doing this side hustle for quite some time, and you're ready to level up, and you want to make it even more official. What does that process even begin to look like?
Perfect. So people are always intimidated about starting their business, even when they've been told a million times, "Hey, you should start a business." So you should know off the bat, because I know who the dream builders are. The largest demographic starting businesses right now are people who look like you and I. They are women of color, okay? And they're women in their 30s and 40s, of which I happen to be. So don't be intimidated is the first thing, because we think of it as this huge thing, like, oh my God, it's such a process, and it's not. The one thing that the United States government wants us all to do is to start a business, because that's potentially more revenue for them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's the first thing. Stop, inhale, take a deep breath. It's going to be fine. The second thing that you need to do is look for what the process is in your particular state for starting your business. You have to determine what your business structure, what your legal structure is going to be. And I suggest you read up on them, whether you're a sole proprietor operating under your name, whether you're a sole proprietor, a single member LLC, whether you're a general agreement, partnership, an S Corp, a C Corp, whatever legal structure you choose to have, read up on those first, and then register your business under one of those structures. If you're in depending on the state that you're in, you may have to take some steps with your state to register your business as well. And your state will outline what that is, okay? What the steps are. And they can be different things for different people. If you're selling retail products, or you're reselling whatever it is, you may also have to go ahead and get a resale certificate as well. So usually I think of it as a 3-step process. The first step is look at your organization structure, decide what it is going to be, register with the IRS, register with your state, and follow what your state says that you need to do to legally set up your business. So I have two legal businesses. My consulting company is one, and my second is my retail business, because I sell stuff on Amazon, and I separate church and state. Completely different. And so I have two legal registered businesses with the state of New York, and it's really simple. Doesn't cost you much money, by the way. To register with the state of New York, it was $3.99. Except that I have to make some publications in the newspaper. It cost me a couple $100. That's it, and off to the races and going. That's all I had to do.
All right, I'm just reading through the comments as they are going through, and there are a lot of educators also here. And outside of tutoring, they want to know, what other suggestions have you seen out there as far as side hustles are concerned?
Yes, educators. If you educate in the classroom, you can educate online. I made $20,000 last year educating online on the side. Okay. So you can build your own classes online. You can sell lesson plans online. You do not have to be a tutor. Yes, you can tutor online. Yes, you can do things like VIP Kid, teaching kids from Asia English, and you can do that in your spare time. But you're not limited to just being a tutor, okay? You can teach classes online. You can sell classes on Udemy, Udemy. Build and sell a class there. If you are a teacher with a particular set of skills, those skills are transferable. It's not just sitting in that classroom. You can create your own classroom and teach that way and make extra money. Like I said, I slipped into $20,000 last year teaching.
Hello, the first person you all should think about is Tiffany the Budgetnista. She is the prime example of someone who started with just blogging and educating people online, and now has a whole academy where she's just teaching everyone about finances. So use those skills.
Yeah, and also if you can write a book, if you can write books, and I have a friend who publishes ebooks online, and she makes between $500 and $1,000 a month. Okay, when she publishes her book, it sells, and she's collecting a check once a month, and she publishes a book once every month or 2 months, and so she's making extra money that way. Don't think that you just stop teaching if that's not what you want to do. Chances are that you have something you can put that on paper, on pen, and create something else and sell whatever that thing is. Okay. Yeah, educators, don't be stuck, because I know people say that you guys don't make a lot of money. There's time when you have downtime, when you may not be teaching, if you're not teaching year round, that you can use those skills to make additional money. You might not have time right now when school's in session, but maybe when school's out of session, that's something that you can consider to supplement your income.
Perfect. So you guys, let me tell you something. Sandy has 3 courses already in the academy that walks you through the basics as far as drop shipping is concerned. I even think she addressed how to create your own T-shirt and mug business. Let's talk about that really quick though. Let's just go over that, because I know that's something that's trending right now, and you can always come up with a quote or something to sell. So Sandy, I think you had mugs, right?
I did. So I used to take quotes that our good friend Twitter Finger says all the time. And I would throw those on mugs. And there was a time I had mugs number 1 on Amazon, number 11, and number 22. And out of all the mugs on Amazon, just from the craziness that he would say, that I would throw it on mugs. So T-shirts are really popular right now. I taught how to have your T-shirt business hands-free class. I think nearly 2,000 people have taken that class. So teachers, by the way, there you go. In fact, somebody in my hustle crew today, like an hour ago, posted that he created a shirt, put it on his Facebook, and he's made like $75 already without having spent a dime, because I tell him don't spend a dime to make the T-shirts and stuff, because they're pre-sold before they're even made. So he's like, I've already made $74. I haven't touched a thing. And let me tell you what his T-shirt is about. What has been trending for the last 3 days? Our good friend, Mr. Kelly, right? So his T-shirt is all about empowering Black women, right? And that's what his T-shirt that he created, because he was inspired by watching this trash on television, and he created this T-shirt, and he just posted that he made $75. So yeah, there's another easy thing that you can do that doesn't cost you anything really to start that business, and you can make money. Like one of the guys in my hustle crew, $75 and a day.
Sorry, reading through the comments. And yes, I think Nancy brought up a really good point here. What are some things that people should be aware of when they're selling T-shirts and mugs? So sometimes I think people like to copy. They'll tweak things a little bit. Yes. So what are some of the best practices you do before you create and design your mugs or T-shirts?
It's really tough, because graphic products that are based on graphics or sayings or quotes are very, very, very easily ripped off and copied, and that's it. And that's a problem that I have. I have to constantly come up with new products, constant, because it is very easy to get ripped off, especially when your stuff, goes to number 1 in trends. Boom, you know that you're going to be ripped off. A question that people generally ask me is, should I copyright my stuff? You can go ahead, copyright, trademark, whatever it is that you want to do. That takes time. That takes money. And then the problem is you have to go out and you have to defend your trademark copyright. Make sure you have a lawyer on tap, because it's going to cost you money. And you have to chase people. So here's what I do. I don't bother. I just don't. That's me. So if you are designing something, I would be very, very careful that you are not ripping off somebody. You cannot take the Nike logo without their permission. They will come after you, or things like that. You know what's trademarked or copywritten. You already know. Don't use those things. Try to come up with something of your own, right? If it's just a quote, that's just words on a shirt or words on a mug. right? And if it's a public figure saying things in a public domain, that's not something that they can copyright and trademark. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So anytime our president says something incendiary, I can snatch his words and I could put it on a mug. Or what one guy has done that's been really trending a lot is that he had old tweets from Donald Trump and the new tweets where he said one thing, then he said the exact opposite. He put them on flip flops. Get it? Flip flop.
Too funny.
Sold out. Sold out. Okay. Tweet number one, tweet number two, where he says one thing, says exact opposite, and those are on flip flops, and sold out. Made ton of money off of Donald Trump, flip flopping. So yeah, be careful that you are not infringing on somebody's copyrighted trademark, because they can come after you for damages, and you can end up paying. So, toe that line. Don't even go there, and try to come up with something of your own. Now, here's the thing. If you are doing a graphic, you don't even need to be a graphic designer yourself. Okay. I tell people, go to Fiverr.com, pay the $6 for somebody else to do it for you, and then you're off to the races. Like my friend who made the $70-something off of the one t-shirt in the last, couple of hours off of R. Kelly. He doesn't have any design skills, not a lick, none. And he went to Fiverr, had found somebody to do it for him, slapped the image on a shirt, sold off of Facebook, and there he was.
So wait, he got someone to design it off of Fiverr, which probably cost him what?
$6.
Wow. Brilliant. I'm sorry, that is brilliant. I need to step up my side hustle game for real. Yeah. So we addressed the consultant. We talked about the educators. There are a lot of RNs in here and people that are in the health field. Yeah. So their concern is time. So they're like,
they're not 12-hour shifts.
Yep.
It's not easy. I know because my husband's niece is an RN, and she had 1, 2, 3 kids, and was a single mom and needed to make extra money. And here's what she ended up doing. So she couldn't do the 12-hour shifts anymore. She had, when your daughters are in high school, you need to be around when you're a single mom, right? So she couldn't do the 12-hour shifts anymore. What she ended up doing was that she actually ended up teaching in nursing school. And she ended up being a visiting nurse, which was actually very lucrative. So she had, an area that she had her patients in, and that's what she ended up doing and splitting her time, because she needed to be home for her daughters, which I don't blame her. You got to, make your priorities. Yes, you can work on the side on your own as a nurse. You can be a nurse in somebody's home. My mother-in-law was ill earlier this year, and we had somebody that was coming in every day. She needed medication and things like that to visit her. When my sister-in-law was pregnant, she had a very high-risk pregnancy. The nurse would visit her at home twice a week. So there was that service. You could also work for the large healthcare companies. They have virtual RN and virtual doctor services now. So you're typically you're working from home, and the person is logging in to speak to a nurse or a doctor or whatever it is. And you're taking those calls and interacting with people online through a call center. Some of those are part-time. Again, if you're working a 12-hour shift, that can be very, very difficult. Excuse me. There are always places like, if you're working out of a school, maybe, or daycare centers, teaching lessons such as CPR, if you are certified, if you teach on the side. I actually know somebody in my hustle crew who teaches CPR lessons on the side to make extra money. So you kind of have to dig into your bag of tricks to figure out what's going to work for you. It is very difficult. I know, because they're on, a 3 or 4 day on, 3 days off, 12-hour shifts, can be very difficult. It can be. And sometimes it just won't work for your schedule. You just have to kind of figure out what will.
Yeah, and I think it's important to also, think outside of the box. I know sometimes we come in and we're in a certain field and we think we have to stay there, but tap into your personal skills, things that you're passionate and interested in, and go there. Actually, Nadine, who is the admin of our Dream Builders Facebook group, she manages it. She's an RN. I don't know where she gets the time to do it, But she gets it done. I speak to her daily, and she just finds a way to balance it out. So she's using her organizational skills, her people skills to work with people in the Dream Builder community. And there you go.
Funny
There
you
you have
mentioned
it.
that. One of the last, so I close my group a certain time of the year for what I call hustle season. So
Mm-hmm.
it forces my group to kind of focus on making a lot of money before Christmas. And so I don't take new members. And one of the, and I go through a bunch of classes at that time. And one of the classes that we had was on social media management. So it doesn't matter what you do in your day job. You can be a social media manager online in your spare time, right? So if you are an RN and you're great with Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, you can be a social media manager in your time managing other people's stuff and their accounts. And so I have a friend who makes a couple $1,000s a month. He, by the way, is a pharmacist. He's a pharmacist.
All right.
Dr. Eric Patrick, look him up. He has a virtual business called My Doc Designs. And
Oh,
so he does social media management on the side to supplement his income and pay off his debt because he's got a bunch of student loans. And he's a social media manager on the side, making a couple extra $1,000. I think he said he made like $43,000 on the side last year as a social media manager. So,
wow. I'm telling you guys, there's just so much out there. Everyone has the opportunity to bring in additional income. Like there's no reason why you can't make it happen. And what I hope this lesson is doing for you is allowing that to be a reality. I mean, I lost count of how many jobs Sandy done had. She went through about 10 already just through this lesson, and there's so much more. And she's just such a, you're such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to this. And you just learn through trial and error.
Exactly.
And you find out what you like. And then a lot of the times your side hustle becomes your business. So it grows beyond that. Look, they can't see you. Do that again.
Oh, I raised my hand. Your side hustle becomes your business. Here I am.
And
I promised myself when I was about 18 years old, I said, I'm going to work really, really hard for the next 20 years, and I'm going to not work for anybody else by the time I'm 40. I turned 40 in April. I technically lost my job in March. And I was like, the universe was answering my prayer.
Wow.
Because I was like, I was not going back to that job anyway. I was not going, after I had my baby, I was like, I am not going back to work for these people.
Mm-hmm.
And there I was. It was a few weeks before my 40th birthday, and I am not working for somebody else. And it's great. It is great. If that's your goal, it doesn't have to be your goal. It was my goal, right? But the years that I put in doing all those other things on the side, now I'm like, okay, I can make this money. I can sell on Amazon. I've got my classes that I'm teaching. I've got my hustle crew. I can be a consultant. I can put those together and replace my income. Why do I need to sit at a job that I hate, firing people who don't deserve to be fired, watching their faces, walking them out to their car as they're crying, and making myself sick if that's not what I want to do? So here I am.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Sandy. It is always a pleasure to have you. I do want to share with you all that Sandy never comes here empty-handed. She always has an amazing deal for dream builders specifically. Like we're sisters. We're sisters. We just love her. And she has a special offer for all of you today because a lot of the questions in the chat section is saying, how do I learn more? How do I get through this? How do I even begin? And she's gonna share some information with you. So Sandy, tell us more.
Yeah, so I think a bunch of you guys were asking about the Hustle Crew. Yes, it is closed right now. It reopens actually tomorrow. There are over 8,000 people in the Hustle Crew, which is kind of weird for me to say that because I didn't create that group to have people like really have it really grow into a thing, but it is. And in the Hustle Crew, I've been holding virtual trainings for all sorts of kind of stuff. How to start your podcast business, how to have a Pinterest business, social media manager, blah, 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 all these different things. And what I realized was that people were really interested in having their own businesses because that's what a side hustle is, by the way. You have your own business. But what many people were intimidated with was how to really start, how to legally set up their business, how to do the marketing, how to put a business plan together, all of those other things that I had spent $65,000 going to grad school to learn. And I was like, I really learned it when I really hung my shingle out there. Really, quite honestly, I didn't learn what I really needed for my business in business school. I learned it when I did it. and when I went out there and I made the mistakes and I went through the trial and error. So what I said was, I want to help people really have their businesses and level up in 2019. So I spent months and months and months creating a new class, and it's called the Small Business Incubator. And what it is it's technically, I say it's 6 weeks, but it's really 8 weeks. It's an 8 week course. It is basically a semester, a full semester, teaching you how to begin your business legally. So here's what we go through. And I have a bunch of people that are in the class right now from my hustle crew. They were kind enough to take the class with me and tell me what they needed to learn, what they felt like they were missing. And so in this class, I teach you how to jumpstart your business, what an LLC is, what an S Corp is, what a C Corp is, and why you need to figure out what those are and what works for you before you set your business up, because there can be a lot of tax implications. At some point, I'm going to tell you guys a story about how two men in black came knocking at my door.
Oops, Sandy, I'm going to actually cut you off right there. I'm so sorry. I just received a message from Tiffany. It looks like we kind of double booked tonight, because usually tonight is Ask the Expert. So if all of you are on, if you join the Live Richer Challenge, the home edition, Tiffany is about to go live. So we kind of crossed. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to go on at 9. So I'm going to cut you off. But if you guys know where to find the links, it's right below this video inside of the Academy. It's also in the Facebook group. And when you comment, you will see it in there as well. So just to let you know, the link is in there. It's $197 just for us. And it's originally priced at what?
$19.97.
So you all just please go ahead and follow that link. Sandy's going to walk you through the entire process, and we'll also have the additional links. Sorry to cut this short. Thank you so much, Sandy. I appreciate it.
You are so welcome. You guys take the classes in the Academy. They're great. If you have questions after that, I'm in the group. Tag me, but take the classes in the Academy. You're going to love them.
All right. Have a good night and Happy New Year, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.